Here's the video of CJGJ talking about Deebo Samuel this past offseason.
Bro, don't be friendly when you see me.
October?
Because you be so flash.
After he got hurt.
You better hope, bro. You better hope all that talking you doing when we see y'all do whatever around it may be. Because I can guard you. You can't run routes. You're a running back.
All right.
You're a running back. So I ain't going to sit here and play with you, little boy. Just because you got a little bag, people gave you a little clout, man, you ain't nothing, bro. Stop playing.
You guys had that back and forth on social media.
Pay that no mind, man. He just got to come in and strap it up.
Inside, underneath, incomplete again. C.J. Gardner-Johnson comes up against Scott. Picked up. Purdy sets, launch, has Samuel wide open. He's got it. Touchdown. 2nd and 6. Hand it off inside. The dancing feet of Pacheco. Gardner-Johnson hits him. Purdy pressure. Throws over the middle. Caught by Samuel. Breaks a tackle. Still on his feet. And speed now. Samuel racing to the end zone. And he dives. And he's in. Gives it back. Into protect. Mahomes flings it in the middle. It is incomplete. Gardner-Johnson went up.
Play on this drive has been a run until this throw. And it's Deebo Samuel. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Here we go. The NFC Championship game is officially upon us. Just your classic David versus Goliath storyline. You got to love it. This will be the first NFC Championship game appearance for the Detroit Lions since 1957 versus the 49ers, who have appeared in 4 NFC Championship games just within the last 5 years. 2 things I want to talk about. First being Detroit, specifically, what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? And second, what are the keys for the San Francisco 49ers to get out of this NFC showdown with the dub? That being said, let's get into it, y'all. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Ryan Tigey, back in action. Had to jump on here real quick. Going to make this super short and sweet as this game fastly approaches, but had to simplify some things about everything I've been seeing around the internet and just wanted to break it down in a more simplified form. What is the main strength of the Detroit Lions and what is the main weakness? Well, the main strength of this Detroit Lions football team is their run game. They have probably the best offensive line remaining out of the 4 teams that are still in the playoffs. Detroit Lions, San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens. I think it's safe to say the Detroit Lions have the best offensive line and definitely better than what the 49ers just faced in the Green Bay Packers. Of course, they have their unbelievable stud, their right tackle, Penei Sewell, who's literally the best right tackle in the NFL. I don't even know how much there is to debate about it. He does a lot of similar things that the best left tackle in the NFL does, Trent Williams. He is a huge dude and moves like an absolute freak. Things that oftentimes don't go together, he is able to do by how quick and fast he is, especially when you take into account his size. So when you look at the Detroit Lions run game specifically, they also have 2 stud running backs. David Montgomery, who's more their physical downhill bruising back, who's got 1,000+ yards rushing for the season. And then they have their rookie out of Alabama, Jahmyr Gibbs, who's fast as shit, loves to bounce the ball on the outside, and he's also a physical back, but he is definitely more your speedy back. That is something that the 49ers are going to have to control and have to control early if they want to come out of this game with a win. When we look at the Lions' weakness, their weakness is their secondary on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of it has to do with how Detroit runs their defense. Their defense is extremely aggressive and opportunistic. They like to run a lot of blitzes, a lot of exotic blitzes to try to cause confusion for the offense in hopes to get a turnover, of course. And when you have a defense that is so aggressive and opportunistic, that will leave one-on-one matchups on the outside. So I expect to see a big game from Mr. Brock Purdy himself and our wide receivers, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, and of course, Kittle. Another part of their defense in terms of their aggressiveness is they like to run in a form exotic blitzes. So the 49ers, they pass rush on defense with 4 defensive linemen. The Detroit Lions pretty consistently rush with 5. So they're already having another man up to rush the quarterback. And then they will mix in the part where it's trying to make opposing quarterback confused is by bringing guys from all over the field. An example being they will have their boys up front and they'll have their defensive end drop back into pass game. And then they will bring a nickel corner on a blitz to surprise the quarterbacks where they can't figure out where the blitz is coming from, make them double clutch, make them think for a half a millisecond longer, and then cause a sack, a turnover, what they've done all year. But again, when you take a look at that aggressive nature of their defense, that leaves huge opportunity, especially for a quarterback who's statistically the best quarterback in passing when getting blitzed, Brock Purdy. Massive opportunity to throw the ball downfield, take advantage of that aggressiveness and get some explosives from it. So I'm excited to see that matchup on that side of the ball. Let's hear what Trent Williams had to say about this Detroit defense.
I like it when the opposing defense brings an extra rusher to try to stop your passing game.
Yeah, because that means that the more rushes you bring, the less you have in coverage. And I like our guys when they can get the ball in their hands with only one guy in their vicinity, or if they only got to beat one guy in a lot of open space. So, you know, it's one of those things where you can live by, you can die by. For us, you know, it's a challenge, and we welcome the challenges. And, you know, it's why you got to be on it. It's why you can't play into their hands and get behind the chains, because they can make your life hard.
So just something to note when you take a look at opposing quarterbacks facing this Detroit Lions defense, a few things stand out. One, Nick Mullins, former backup quarterback for the 49ers as the starter in the Minnesota Vikings. He threw for 411 yards passing when going against Detroit. And Dak Prescott, he threw for 345 yards. But if we just isolate both the playoff games that Detroit has played versus the Rams and versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Matt Stafford and Baker Mayfield each threw for over 325 yards apiece. So there is opportunity in the pass game for the Niners to take advantage of and ultimately make the Detroit Lions play more reserved and move the ball down the field. Now let's talk about keys for the 49ers. Let's talk about first the defensive side of the ball. The 49ers defensive front, they need to take over this game. They didn't have their best game against the Green Bay Packers, didn't end up with any sacks, had a few pressures. It wasn't the true form of what we've historically seen the 49ers defensive front, especially when you look at the investment the 49ers have made. This is a team that was built on the foundation of winning in the trenches on the offensive defensive side of the ball. Well, the defensive side of the ball specifically, that is where they have put a massive amount of investment into, and those boys need to step up. Not only do they need to take over the game, the first point being that they need to stop the run. The Green Bay Packers had success running the football. Aaron Jones, unbelievable back, but they had some fairly good success running the football. And the Niners need to nip that in the ass as soon as it starts to ensure that Jared Goff has the ball in his hands. If any team knows Jared Goff better, it's the 49ers. They obviously saw him when he was the Rams quarterback twice a year as a divisional opponent. So we know if the 49ers can pressure Goff, make him uncomfortable, lay hits on him, due to his inability to have any mobility, that is a major key for the defense to capitalize on, make Jared Goff throw the ball, put the ball in his hands specifically, and get to him, because you know he's not going to be able to beat you around the outsides like some of these other quarterbacks the 49ers have faced and have had some success, but also not some success. Now, what are the keys to the offense? I think a huge key to this game is scheme. What do I mean by that? The Detroit Lions, their defensive line rotation often matches the personnel of the opposing offense that they're going against. One of those formations being something that the 49ers run a lot of, 2 backs and 1 tight end. Well, when the Detroit Lions have faced offenses that run that, they oftentimes rotate all their big boys in because they want to stop the run. That's historically personnel group that's meant for rushing. So they counter that by bringing in all their biggest linemen to stop the run. Well, the advantage for the 49ers is that knowing Shanahan, knowing his offense, we could probably have 50 plus plays out of that exact formation which may be able to hit them by surprise, specifically when throwing the ball down the field when they have all their big boys up front trying to stop the run, and then we counter that with the pass. So I think that is a massive key to this game and something definitely to keep your eye out for, seeing what the Detroit lineman defensive rotation is. Another key, the outside zone run scheme, specifically behind big boy Trent. Detroit's star pass rusher, Aiden Hutchinson, he oftentimes lines up on the right side, primarily plays on the right side. They will move him to both sides, but primarily on the right side, which is our weakness in our offensive line. Definitely weaker than the left side. No debate about that. So the 49ers have the ability, again, to capitalize on, number one, feeding the best running back in the NFL, MVP CMC, and with Kyle's scheme, the outside zone run scheme, running the ball to the left, opposite of Hutchinson, that will lead to a big opportunity, again, for some explosives on the ground. And we know what CMC does when he's toting that rock. He makes people miss, bounces off tackles, and scores tutties. And then the last key, I've already kind of touched on it, taking advantage of Detroit's opportunistic play style, specifically when running blitzes. Purdy has shown that he is very capable of doing that. He actually relishes in that. That will be a major key to success. When they do decide to bring the house, Purdy's able to dissect it and give the ball to one of his playmakers in space, i.e. Kittle, i.e. Brandon Ayuk, i.e. Deebo, who is going to play, by the way. I love it. I'm excited. And we need Deebo to play in this game, which looks like he definitely will. So those are the keys to the game. What do I expect from Detroit? I expect Detroit to try to establish the run early. They like to dictate the play clock, dictate the offense, and they're going to do that, obviously, by trying to get the ground game going. Well, again, the 49ers defensive line needs to step up and ensure that they can't run the ball like last game where they had too much success. Still pretty good, minus that 151-yard run that Aaron Jones had. They need to nip that in the ass quickly and efficiently so they get the ball in Jared Goff's hands. And then, of course, I also expect to see a lot of screens and rubs. The 49ers, traditionally in this defense, haven't been the best at guarding screens. And then, of course, rub routes causing a lot of intersection and confusion on our defensive side where players literally can't get around to make the play. The Packers had success doing so. And of course, watching tape for Detroit Lions, they will see that and they will try to take that to their advantage. And it's something the 49ers, they can have answers for, but it's not really in the core of their defense to get outside of what they want to do. They like to dictate the terms. So I expect a lot of screens and a lot of rubs. And then the last thing I expect Detroit to attack in the air outside the numbers. As we all saw, Avery Thomas did not have his best game. Atrocious PIs, and we gave up some good amount of passing yards outside the numbers. And that is something that Detroit will try to take advantage of. They have a stud wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They also have a unbelievable tight end, Laporta. But I expect to see them throwing the ball outside the numbers, especially if it's like a 3rd and long situation, even if they just try to chuck it up there. Because again, time and time again, we see the 49ers DBs, specifically DBs opposite side of All-Pro Mooney, either get a PI or give up a big passing play. So expect them to attack outside the numbers. So all in all, I am fucking fired up for this game. I can't wait. Sunday night, primetime NFC Championship football at Levi Stadium. It is going to be fun as hell to watch. And I hope the Niners come out and put the NFL on notice. All the hype that they had this year, they are that team. There's just a lot of recency bias going on out there, whether it be around Brock, whether it be about the defense. It doesn't matter. This team knows how to respond, and I believe they will respond. So I cannot wait. All right, y'all. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Hit me up. Go Niners. Peace.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums.